Hello there. Well, I just thought I'd mention where some of our tax money in the UK goes. And I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll talk about Ukraine and what's happening with Ukraine, NATO, and how close we are to being at all-out war, even nuclear war. Starmer has come out with what I consider an absolute classic, and it's on an irreversible path to NATO membership for Ukraine. Now that might sound good to some, but let's break down what it actually means and why I consider this extremely dangerous. For years, Russia was told NATO wouldn't advance and move eastwards. Yet here we are, with NATO creeping right up to Russia's borders. Back in the 90s, Western leaders promised, absolutely promised Russia that NATO wouldn't expand beyond Germany. But guess what? Poland, the Baltic states, and even Finland have all joined NATO. To Russia, this isn't just politics, it's a direct threat. Ukraine joining NATO is the red line for Russia, and they made that clear for a long time. But instead of listening, Western leaders kept pushing forward, making war more likely and not less. Peace talks were possible until the West stopped them. Now let's not forget, early in this war, Russia and Ukraine were actually talking. Back in March, April 2022, they were close to a peace deal. Ukraine was open to neutrality, meaning no NATO membership, and some territorial compromises. And it could have ended right there. But then Boris Johnson flew to Kiev and told Zelensky not to sign anything. Instead, he promised the West would back Ukraine all the way. So the talks fell apart and the war dragged on. Ask yourself, was this really helping Ukraine, or was it about keeping the war going? And when you think about it, who benefits from war? Particularly this war. Because, to be real, there's people making a fortune from this, an absolute fortune. Weapons manufacturers, companies like Lockheed Martin, are raking in cash from endless arms sales to Ukraine. Then we've got the Western elites and the globalists. The wars creates economic chaos, which they can use to push things such as digital currencies, government control, and new financial systems. The US government. Weakening Russia helps America keep its global power by also pressuring the likes of China. Then we've got the NATO and EU bureaucrats. Expanding NATO means more power, more money, and more influence for them. So while ordinary Ukrainians and Russia suffer, these groups are thriving. So to me, it's no wonder they don't seem to rush to stop a war. And so, are we sleepwalking into a nuclear war? That's the scariest part for me. If Ukraine joins NATO while still at war, NATO's Article 5 means every NATO country is now at war with Russia. Now that's a full-scale conflict, with the very real possibility of nuclear weapons being used. Russia has already hinted at it, yet instead of de-escalating, Starmer and other Western leaders are making things worse. Now, Donald Trump, and like him or not, has said he'd negotiate with Putin if he was re-elected. And now he is elected as president. He's in talks with Putin. Whereas Starmer, on the other hand, is doubling down on the war, putting himself in direct opposition to Trump. If America and Europe start pulling in different directions on this, things could get even more unstable. And to me, the big question we need to ask is, are our leaders actually trying to end this war? Or are they trying to push us towards something even more dangerous? No, I think time's running out. And if we don't start demanding real diplomacy, we might not like where this road leads. And these are just my thoughts on the headlines I saw today. I just thought, more tax money. More tax money. Anyway, in the meantime, take care. Bye now. Bye bye.